My name is Ty Miller. I'm the Air Operations Branch Director for California Team 4. And one of the main questions that people have been asking is why aren't we fighting this fire directly with helicopters and putting it out? What I'd like to say basically is that there's many types of fuels out there on the fire. And what we can do with aviation resources is we don't always get the same effect in many ways. The fuels out here on this incident are very thick, they're heavy. We have thick canopy, we have large trees, thick brush, and for water and retardant to actually penetrate into that and get down below to the ground where the fire is working as well as up in the canopy, it doesn't always penetrate. So what we attempt to do with the water and the retardant is to slow the progress of the fire in an effort to give the folks on the ground the amount of time that they need to get in there and do direct line to stop the fire. Now there are certain areas where we simply cannot get people into. Either the terrain is too steep and dangerous to actually put people on the ground. The risk is not worth the gain in those areas. So what we'll do is we'll go in with the VLATs, the very large air tankers, other aviation support, and the helicopter heavies to what we call paint a ridge or put in a line with retardant that will coat the fuels and hopefully slow or prevent the fire from being able to eat its way through that retardant. Now, the thickness or the application, how much we put on in an area, kind of determines how well the fire is able to work with that. The problem being is that a fire can spread by spotting. If the fire simply stayed on the ground, didn't go beyond that and jump and run like we have in a crown fire, then it's more easy to handle those kind of things. When the fire gets up and runs and spots, now all bets are off because the spots go directly over the line and start in areas where we don't have any retardant application. Okay, so we have light helicopters, Bell 206s, A-Stars. They're primarily used for recons, infrared mapping, other mapping missions, in support of operations on the ground to get them the information or to take them up and show them what they need to see, the eyes in the sky. The mediums that we have are hauling cargo. They're moving people from point A to point B on the fire. They're also dropping water and doing sling work and things like that as we need. The heavy helicopters, either with bucket or with tanks, are primary the aircraft that we use for applying the retardant to the areas that we need specifically to treat to slow or stop the fire. So today we had a spot that slopped over the other night. That area is what we're trying to encompass and get line around now to corral that particular little slop over that we're dealing with. So the ships are going to be laying retardant around the perimeter of that to slow or hopefully stop the spread, while the ground forces can get in and put in direct line and get in and what we call mopping up the fire and putting out all the heat along the edge of that fire. The other aircraft and the other locations will be applying retardant along areas on the line that we've identified as to be a specific threat, and they're reinforcing those lines by putting more retardant down to hold. Retardant is like a fertilizer that we're putting out there, and when it's first applied it has a large moisture content, but as the retardant stays on the ground that moisture content evaporates, but it still leaves the product. Now that product will still retard fire spread, but it doesn't have the moisture component that is most helpful in stopping it. So it's still effective, but not as effective as the moisture comes out of that. So we reinforce it by putting more down to hopefully accomplish what we're trying to accomplish with putting more on.